Yeah, Porter, I guess just talking about Kobe, just how important was it for him to kind of get going on Saturday?
Well, offensively, he did some really good things. He's to see the ball going in. He actually made some off the dribble too, so very confident. And it was great for him to see him go in. And so, with some of our top shooters out, now we've had games where Duke hit 4 threes. Now Kobe's hit 4 threes. Jaylen Moore is like really good percentage going in. Dayton's hit a couple. Glenn's hit one. Fears has hit a couple. So you're getting more guys because we really want to, be able to shoot the ball. And Kobe's been shooting it really well in practice for a while now. And for him to see it go in like that, I thought he was really good offensively. But the thing that's pleasing me the most is, and I don't care what you play at, is the turnovers. We've kept the turnovers down. Kobe's assist to turnover ratio is what we thought. He's consistently last year one of the top assist to turnover ratios in the country, and he has started out that way this year, taking care of the ball.
You mentioned with Bryson out, just where is he at in his progression?
Jaylen is definitely out, and Bryson is. We're just kind of at a stalemate with him. It's a push pull. He starts to practice and it pulls back on him. So. He hasn't been back full go yet.
Go Bob and James.
Yeah, Porter, you mentioned last week you hadn't practiced without Bryson and Jaylen the entire time. What have you learned from having that 3-guard set, Kobe, Duke, Jeremiah? What have you liked about that setup?
Pace. They all can go downhill. They all can kind of create for each other. They all can knock down a shot. And they've proven that they can knock down shots. Bryson gives you a bigger wing. Jaylen gives you a bigger wing. Glenn is given that bigger wing. But those 3 guards have been, they've all had their moments of playing really well so far, and just want to keep building them. And if it so happens those 3 play at the same time, and we've done that, I'm confident that, you're not just watching one guy that has to create everything with those 3 on the floor at the same time.
Jaylen was supposed to be maybe your best defensive guard.
Yeah.
And he hasn't played yet. Yeah, you guys have played pretty good defensively. So has that surprised you at all?
It hasn't surprised us. We still feel like we can guard a lot better. A lot better, to be honest with you. And but Jaylen is, he's older. We track everything: steals, deflections. He was one of our top defenders. He was big. He was Conference Player Defender of the Year. So you're missing that shooting and that defense from him. So we just don't know when we're getting him back. But the 2 young guys, Dayton and Jeremiah, and they're up there. We're just now watching clips defensively. Kobe and Duke, it's a new system for them defensively. So we're evolving. I like that we're forcing a lot of turnovers right now, and I think that translates deflections and all that. We're back-to-back forcing over 20 turnovers, and but I think we got a huge room to grow defensively, and mainly being consistent defensively. I think we've had some tough starts, and then we settle in, and then all of a sudden, I thought Stetson had like 10 points in the first 4 minutes, and then all of a sudden they had 20-something at half. The next 13 they had 8. So we just got to be more consistent and not letting up, relentless defensively.
Porter, speaking of consistency, Sam's one of the leaders in rebounds in the nation. Just what have you seen from him through? It's only been a couple games, but just how have you seen him attack rebounds specifically?
It's one of those things where you joke like you just heard it somewhere else. Death and taxes are a given, and Sam offensive rebounding. That dude is just relentless. Probably the best offensive rebounder I've coached. And he just goes and he combines a great nose for it with the relentlessness for it. And he's athletic. And so he's been super consistent. And I still think for him, mobility, getting him to play 30 minutes a game, and that's the direction we're heading with him. But he's been super solid. It's funny, he's shooting 55% from the field, and I'll bet you he'll say he's left a couple baskets each game on the board, around the rim. So just finishing everything he can, I think is going to be a big thing for him. And I'm still wanting him to pull the trigger on the 3, whether he makes it or not.
Porter, Jaylen has kind of had 3 big games to start the season. Has his performance so far been kind of what you expected out of him? Has he exceeded expectations? Where you kind of rate his performances so far?
You know, how I look at Jaylen is that he's been really great at what he's good at, and he's been even better in transition offense. He is really winning the first 3 steps. That's on our wall. He wins. I mean, he really runs. He's offensive rebounder. He's now taking his time better, not shooting as many tough shots. First game, he shot a bunch of tough shots. He's not forcing threes off the dribble or off the move. When he's ready, he's got his feet set. He's knocking it down on a good percentage clip right now. So he's doing those things. And then the best thing he's done is he hasn't put too much pressure on himself to where he feels like, his leadership's been good. He's remained a positive energy through different things. And we got to continue to work on that. Because sometimes guys that have never had that role of leadership feel like they got to do everything. And he doesn't. He doesn't. By him being great at what he does, it's great leadership as it is. Him having a great mentality, that's great leadership. So especially some guys, point guards, they've been a leader their whole life. They've been a captain 10 times on teams over the years. All of a sudden you get maybe a bigger guy thrown into a leadership role, they feel like they got to maybe do more. He doesn't. He's got to have an unbelievable high energy attitude every day. He's got to be the hardest worker in the gym, and he's got to really be great at what he's good at. And he's checking all 3 of those boxes every day.
What are you looking for just out of tomorrow's game, maybe offensively, defensively?
Looking for a win. And anybody who looks at that score last night that didn't watch the game is not doing their homework. That game, I watched how hard they played against the 2-time defending champion. They forced 19 turnovers at UConn. They had 17 offensive rebounds at UConn. They switch everything. They're going to switch 1 through 5. They're going to play extremely hard. They're going to go downhill offensively. I know UConn had 11 blocks at the rim, and UConn, I think, is one of the top 2-3 teams in the country. And they're a defending national champion, 2-time, into a sold-out arena, and East Texas A&M was not one bit scared. They went in there and played their tails off. So you can't look at the score. There was 2 runs. There was a run at the end of the first half that was 16-3, and then there was a run in the beginning of the second half that kind of extended it. But this team fights. So we're looking for a win. We're looking to protect the paint. They shoot 61% when they get to the paint off the drive. That's very high. So we're trying to protect the paint. We got to check off. They were completely undersized and had 17 offensive rebounds. They are hard fighting. We've got to execute our offense with movement. We can't get stale because they're just going to switch everything. You can't just switch and stand. You got to keep moving. You got to dive. You got to do all different things. But very, very impressed with how hard they play and unique of just everything's a switch. And they do a great job of communicating and working at it.
Any additional questions for Coach?